Story Isn't Finished, hosted by myself, Megan Snook.
And myself, Andrea Suarez.
And today we have a special guest, Ashley Birch.
Hi.
So we have been anticipating and waiting for this. Andrea and I have had Ashley on the books now for a while to be able to interview her. So we're super stoked, but unfortunately with like our schedules all clashing and whatnot, it's taken a minute, but we're all here now. So we're here for her to share her story on life and some tribulations and trials that she's been through.
Right.
So, Andrea.
So well, I don't have my phone. My phone's up there, Meg. Thank you. So I don't know if you just want to introduce yourself first, tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe like at what age did you realize that, you know, you had traumas or your mental health was becoming an issue for you?
Okay. So I'm Ashley. Is that what you wanted me to do?
Yep, that's
Introduce
fine.
myself?
Yep.
No, girl.
Anyways,
label.
yeah. So I'm 39. I'm a mom of two, a single mom of two. A hairdresser forever and ever. My trauma started, I would say, when my dad was deployed for his first tour in Iraq, which was 91. So that was Desert Storm. And I didn't really realize that that was where my trauma started until way later. But that started my abandonment. I think the most vivid thing I remember is like kindergarten and everybody making yellow ribbons for the windows, and me just not really like connecting this like celebration. I think it was supposed to be a good thing. We were supposed to be like honoring these people, but my dad was far away, and back then we didn't have phones or any of that shit, so we audio taped on cassettes. So he would like voice, record, and we would wait for that, and you got calls whenever you could. So that was like
Right.
the very beginning. And you want to know about when my like addiction started?
Yep. Like when,
So
what happened with that?
My addiction, probably my introduction to things. My dad was killed in a car accident at 12, when I was 12. It was a Sunday and it was a beautiful day, and he was going to take his hot rod out, and I always went with him for hot rod rides. And this day I was like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay home and clean for you or whatever. And I remember I ran upstairs and I went to the bathroom window and I watched him pull out in his car, and I felt this like heavy amount of dread, right? So I went about my day and he didn't come home for dinner, and then we started to get a little worried. And then I started to get really worried, and then we went to the hospital, and he was killed in his car accident. So burying him, I was like it was a big blur. But I remember being very, very sad for a while, and then I smoked pot. And I know people are like, it's a gateway drug, but I think sadness is a gateway drug. Do you know what I mean? Like that's really what we're trying to battle. But that was where that started. And then through high school, I was really big into like designer drugs because that was my era. We did a lot of ecstasy and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. I will not ever deny that it was so much fun. But alcohol really hit a button for me, like, whoa.
Okay.
And I just, from my teenage years on, I suffered from it on and off. My first bout of rehab detox was 22, I think, from alcohol and benzos.
So now when you went into rehab, you did that voluntarily? You chose that, or was there an impact on you that got you to that point?
So at 22, I had Derek at 21. So when I found out I was pregnant with Derek, we actually bought a big, huge bottle of Jack that day. And I knew that I was feeling weird, and something was like, actually, you should test yourself. So I did, and I was pregnant, and I stopped everything, like easy, except for smoking cigarettes. But after I had him, I was like, I don't want to breastfeed. I didn't want to do anything. And it was just like balls to the wall. Like I did not connect with him. I didn't really, like attach at first. And, I just partied really hard. And then when he was about 6 months old, I think I caught a Dewey, and it was a bad one. Like I had a beer between my legs and I was like in a spaghetti strap driving at like 2 a.m. and the cop pulls me over and I rolled the window down. I was like, I'm just trash. So I just took that Dewey, and then I kept drinking and my family was finally like, you need to like go detox. And I was on benzos like whoa then too, which is what I learned later, like the most dangerous.
So were they prescribed, or you were just?
They were prescribed at first.
And that.
But like it's crazy how the addictive behavior, because like I would call my doctor's office and be like, I spilled them down the sink. And looking back, it's like how obvious of, you know what I mean?
Right.
So then I went to rehab and they let me do 30 days, but they wouldn't cover anymore. The county doesn't cover if you have, this is a really fucked up thing. If you have pending charges, the county, back then, I don't know if it's different, will not fund your recovery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It is. So, and that was
Like, that's a
2008.
broken system.
It's very broken, way broken.
Like, just because you have a charge doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in rehab longer, or that should make
For sure.
Well, we'll reach that and not another point,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not okay.
I know.
No.
Yeah, I'll talk
Maybe
in
we need to
circles.
dig
There's
into-
so much.
We
There's
need
so
to
much.
dig into that now and actually see like if that's
What is what?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like the county has gotten a little better with some things, but maybe I'm being soft. I know.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is wild. So anyways, that was my first bout of rehab. And that was really interesting. That was a really shitty rehab. And I hate to say that, but it really was. I did my makeup I detoxed hard. And I'll tell you something, when you detox from alcohol, it's like super dangerous. And so are benzos. But they bring I think it's is it Yoakum? Like he does all the shit in town.
Isn't that the coroner?
He's the coroner.
He's the coroner. He does everything, right? But I think back then it was like the dad. Now I think it's the son that runs it, right?
Yeah.
So they make you have to hold your hands out and they see if you're shaking, and then they'll like address your detox, whatever. But they make you sit on your hands and put your tongue out because you can't control like the muscles in your tongue or some shit. And if your tongue quivers, like you're still detoxing. So I did, I think 7 days in detox, which really sucked. But
so when you say that you were like abusing benzos, like, do you think that like how many like milligrams were you taking a day?
I never got like bars or anything, like ever. I mean, eventually you can find that stuff on the streets, easy peasy. But this was also like 2008, 9, 10, when we didn't have like, people just print this shit out in their kitchen now.
Right now, because like that was back in what 2008 you said, but like
about like the pressed pills and stuff.
Yeah.
I would never take pills off the street. Nothing.
There's
like
no way.
I never really. Yeah, I was never. Benzos were the only thing that was like slow for me that I got into. I never could like fuck with the dope and stuff. That wasn't my jam at all. It's weird how you like pick your own shit. You know what I mean?
You do. You just find like something that like works with your body chemistry that makes you kind of just feel like, somewhat numb. And that's what that's what I was trying to do, at least when with my addiction, like
for sure.
But still have a little control, but not really.
Well, you think you're in control all the time.
You always do.
I mean, yeah.
That's part of it.
I find myself even being like, well, I wasn't, but it's like, bitch, you were out of pocket. You were, yeah. You had wine at the soccer game all the time. You know what I mean?
The sober you is like, wow, I can't believe I was driving around town with an open container and I just drinking it publicly, thinking it was normal.
And I thought, like, nope, yeah, I thought I had everybody snooze. But you go through different seasons too. Like, there's so much. We'll just we'll keep talking.
So after you did your first round of rehab, did you then have a therapist? Did you see anybody after that, or was it just the program and done?
I think so I had charges, so I was court ordered. Looking back, I was court ordered to like alcohol therapy, which is really funny because if you're not really serious about like getting sober and stuff like that, which I wasn't, I was doing it like because I was kind of being told to do. I wasn't mentally there yet. And they put it at like right across the street was the William Penn, so like we would go and like then go, you know what I mean? So I did have therapy, but it obviously didn't stick for me.
Right. But you were how old at this time?
I was 21, 22.
So I mean, we're
still like your prime alcohol age.
And that's the partying age though. Like when
Mhm.
everyone turns 21, like I mean, we all know too. We were all drinking illegally before that, like trying things here and there.
Mhm.
But like when you turn 21 and you're 22, 23, I mean, those are all like those. Even your mid 20s, I feel like all the way up until your late 20s, those are the times where you're experimenting, where you're
Oh yeah.
testing your limits. You're seeing like what can I get away with, or what can I
Mhm.
not get away with. It's natural. I think we've all been there in our 20s. I know
Yeah.
I mean, when
Think
I
so,
got my
too.
first DUI, I was in my 20s, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
so when did you? So you said Derek, that's your oldest son.
Mhm.
When did you have your youngest son?
I was 25.
Okay.
And yeah, that was
Where were you at in life then when he came along?
I was like
She's smiling. She's like, oh.
so
Like we're not judging you here.
no, I know.
You know that.
I'm gonna tell it. So I was like just unbelievably in love with his dad at that time. And we were both big drinkers, and it was just like fast and rock and roll. Now he was very anti like drugs, anything. But we had a house, and I had a good job. He had a good job, and it seemed to be okay. But again, it was alcohol fueled. Everything was alcohol fueled, and we pretty much just like beat the shit out of each other, and then mutually. Do you know what I mean? I was very calm for a long time, but um, yeah, alcohol makes me a little violent, and
Jekyll and Hyde.
yeah,
I've heard that about myself too.
it does.
What do you drink? What's your drink of choice?
I
Is it
like Jack, yeah, with
whiskey.
beer.
It's always
Oh,
the
not
whiskey.
Jack, not Jack. I like Crown. Crown's my
Crown, but it's
Jack
the
used
whiskey.
Crown. Yeah, the whiskey. Crown.
Girl.
Crown Apple was always on like the center. I just said that the other day. I always had a bottle in the center of my table and in my like backpack. Always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do say like whiskey drinkers too. Like I've heard this before.
Yo, I love that shit. It's so bad though.
It is. It's so bad for you, but it turns you. They say it turns you.
And
into,
it's like this,
angry person.
like 1 minute
Right.
you're cool, and the next minute you're like, bitch, what?
Like you said, what to me?
I know, and then that's it. So yeah, I drank a lot of whiskey. Yeah, there, but like our life was fun, and it was at that moment I thought it was where I wanted to be, you know. But it wasn't. So we almost killed each other, and then I took Jax. He actually put the baby in the room with him one night and locked the door. Yeah.
Was like intentional. Like these were arguing.
Yeah, and I remember like an idiot. I grabbed my big screen TV because back then like a big screen TV was like a big deal. So I grabbed the big screen TV.
Bro, they weighed like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You must have had a lot of adrenaline.
I did all the time. Yeah,
It's that whiskey.
Like it's that whiskey.
Whatever. Yeah. That wasn't my peak drinking, but when it was bad, it was always because of the booze. Like when we got volatile, it was always the booze. But I didn't drink heavy then.
So you lifted this TV.
I lifted this TV, got it in the back of my car, got Derek, went to my mom's. I was really beat up, and she was like, "You can't go back." Do you know what I mean? So I filed a PFA, and we battled in court for a really long time. It was really volatile. There was a time where he wanted to have the alcohol clause lifted in our court order, and my attorney and I were like, absolutely not. I mean, I was still drinking, but I was like, yeah, buddy, no. He just showed his colors more honesty. Like, honestly, I was just slick and hiding it. But he was probably drinking pretty heavy then, too.
Right, because no one really knows behind closed doors.
Well, who does that, though? Who's like, I don't want that in a court order. I want to be able to drink when I have my kid. Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
So,
you already can know how it can turn things. Like, that's what got you to that point. So why would you want that around your child in the first place? But we all make mistakes, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we all are human.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
So that was that. And then I moved out into my first apartment, and yeah.
So then,
ride so far, girl.
so as a
it didn't even start yet.
I'm on the train. We're on the train with you.
Yeah.
Shit gets bonkers, but yeah.
So then you're a single mom.
So yeah, I'm a single mom. Jax is what, like 6 to 9 months. We have this little apartment on Cumberland Street. It was $650 at the time. I remember I walked up in it, and it had like ceilings to the moon and bedrooms big. It was just so cute, and we were home. Like we knew we were where we needed to be. So you know, that's when I really started to realize too that like Derek and his autism, um,
Mhm.
knowing that he was definitely doing things very different. And back then too, we didn't have so much awareness as we do now. So,
There
yeah,
wasn't
I
like a
drank.
community.
That's where my drinking really picked up, and probably never.
Did you feel like isolated as a parent? Like you didn't have enough like help and knowledge on the fact like to even help him? Like you did you know what
Yeah.
was wrong with him at that point, or the doctors probably didn't even have a diagnosis, or did they at that
Uh, back then they would ask like 3 questions, and the one was like, "Does he make eye contact?" And Derek always made eye contact. I just noticed his delays. My best friend and I had a kid. We both had our babies at the same time, and like her baby was doing it, and I was trying not to, but by like 4 or 5, I was like, something's off. So where are we going there?
just like I didn't know like how it was back then, like if like
Oh yeah, they would just
like the help, like again, like the
there
way
was
you're
no.
describing it, it sounds like the doctors didn't have enough knowledge like they do now. But
Yeah.
again, now too, I do think, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. This is just how I feel about like kids on the spectrum and like certain disabilities. I do think the majority of it is stemmed by what we're feeding and giving our children as far as drinks, like the red dyes and all that.
It's huge.
I mean, because monumentally, like statistically, if you look at the
Mhm.
numbers percentage wise of like autism and kids with Asperger's or even like on the spectrum,
Mhm.
they're so much higher than they were like 20 years ago. People
Right.
didn't even know what autism was. It
Right.
wasn't like
Mhm.
talked about.
No,
really.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
So like that's what's crazy about it. So like you're a young mom, you're a
Mhm.
single mom, and the doctors don't even know for sure what's wrong with your
Yeah.
son. So that was, I'm sure,
It was.
traumatizing.
It
like,
was traumatizing. And like there was a lot of no sleep, and yeah. So we had a good life, you know what I mean? Like I always worked and stuff like that, but Big Daddy's was right up the street, and that became my like watering hole, man.
Shout out Big Daddy. Your girl used
For
to
real.
work there.
So like there's the OG Big Daddy, right? Like, and shout out to that Big Daddy because he was always dope. Like, but he became like they became like my regular family. I go in there with like my babies on my hip, and every night like get my 6-pack, and then we'd go back up to the apartment. And so that's where like all that, but I don't know, we had a good life though there. It was like a breath of fresh air because I just
Right.
went from
Right.
all this insanity, and now I have my boys, and
And you felt safe.
it was so safe.
Right.
It was so safe.
That's the most important thing, I think. Like, I mean, you can make any place home as long as you're with people that you love surrounding you, and you do feel safe, and you feel
Yeah.
the love around you.
Well, it was a really good apartment too. We had do you remember Tiffany DeJesus?
My girl.
Yes.
Today, we're shouting you out too, girl.
Yeah, so she's awesome, right? And she had the girls
love her.
upstairs. I know, I loved her too.
She's
She
awesome.
was
That's crazy.
awesome.
I used to babysit the girls upstairs.
So okay, I definitely seen you because I was right
Yeah,
below, right?
So we talking about Nina and Lily now?
Yeah,
Y'all
a
gotta
small
shout out.
town, right? So they were awesome. It was a really good community because we had her up there, and then it was me and the boys.
Aw.
And then there was another local, I forget her name, but she's a tender at the Willow. But anyway, she was a sweetheart too. So we had like we were good there, like for a while.
Right.
And then yeah, life was pretty balanced there. I moved up to Hill Street. We had a nice new apartment there. That was like really awesome. Do you want me to just keep going with this?
You're good. There's no wrong or right way to do
Yeah,
it.
so we had an
You just
apartment up
talk.
there. I'll dive really deep into where things really took a really dark, deep turn into my
Yeah.
life. I'm gonna be like so honest about everything.
Mhm.
I fell in love with a client who was married, and never in my life did I think that I would do that. But his marriage was falling apart. My situationships were whatever, and they all know, but we had like a total affair, and he was a combat vet and had a lot of fucked up shit, right? So, but when I met him, he was like tall and handsome, and it's so funny looking back, like the things that you pick up on. I was cutting his hair the one day, and it was like 10 in the morning, and I was like, "Did you have a beer already?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh," because I like to party too, so I was like, "This guy fucking starts drinking at 10, like what?" And then
You found your soulmate.
I did. I thought, So we were fast, and he was, I'm not gonna lie, he was like a federal officer, so he drove like a big fancy car and had
Mm,
all fancy stuff, and I was just like encapsulated by him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
so I looked up to him and I was like, this is what I want. And look at him, he does it. He drinks, he gets up, he saves lives, he has a badge and a gun. Like, what?
He has
And
power.
yes,
And
I
that,
was just,
what woman or what man wouldn't
he
Right.
was like a
succumb to that?
man. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's fucked up, but like I looked at what he was doing and what he had, and he had this big beautiful home and like a white picket fence, and he was miserable, but I was like, I want that. You know what I mean? So it's like really fucked up. But when you and it's I it took a really long time, and I still have that stigma of like a husband fucker. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a small town, and
So you
a
felt like
home
you
wrecker.
got labeled then from
Oh,
that relationship.
100%. My
To this
job
day?
spiraled. No.
But just then.
Now, back then it was really bad. Yeah.
So did you lose your job then?
My job spiraled because I was sleeping with a client. Like, that's so wrong.
It's unprofessional.
It's not
but it's
who
not
I
like
am.
it doesn't happen.
It, you know what I mean? Like, our love, we were together for like 6, 7 years, I think. Even like 2 years low key, and then we were, but anyways, so he had two children, I had the two boys. They were all very similar in age, and different upbringings, but they jived, um, sorta, for the most part. His kids were awesome. They were. I really loved his kids. That was a hard one. I never understood what loving somebody else's kids was like. And I feel fucked up because I was
We
still,
both know what that's like.
yeah.
It's hard
It's
because then
hard.
if the relationship doesn't work, then too, like
Yeah.
you're heartbroken because the kids are taken away too. Like,
Dude,
Yeah.
you're
when you
torn.
worry about them too, because like I would sit back
they were
and
your kids.
like there were the and I don't want to like talk down or anything, but there were definitely things that went on. Okay, okay, we come out, and like you can't come out and have an affair and expect your foundation to be firm ever at
Right.
all. So like it's
Correct.
never, like those people that are like, it's just never gonna work. I don't care if it's 10, 20 years, like there's just always this darkness that
Yep.
is in your like relationship. So their divorce was ugly, ugly, and she financially murked him. Um, and he drank bad, really bad. So he had his apartment, I had my apartment, and we were together every day. And he lived with his mom, who was a prescribed pill addict, and they fed off of each other. Do you know what I mean? Like their codependency was so disgusting. But I was also codependent too, but I was so focused on their codependency. So anyways, I remember the one night he had like a brand new Toyota 4Runner or Highlander. I don't know, this thing was beautiful. Brand new, and he totaled it at a pole right at the Willow and drove it home. And I remember his mom like sitting there and smoking a cigarette, like just nothing happened. And I was just like, yo, what the fuck? But I still kept going. Like I still kept going. I just loved him so much. And
so you saw signs of
oh
destruction.
my god!
But you're seeing them now, looking back, and even then you saw them, but you were just kind of blinded and in the cycle, kind of like.
Well, right. So, and this all cycles back to my dad going to war, right? Because this
Right.
guy is, so my dad was Desert Storm and he was Iraqi Freedom. So he went in, my partner, he went in for the invasion. So I don't know if you remember like when we watched TV with all the like black, and they got like Saddam and all that shit or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
girl,
that's
I
who
remember
it was.
that. Yeah.
Whatever
So
that other guy was.
He went through a lot of.
So he was on he was
front
there,
lines.
front lines, right? And like then ended up being a like a special agent and worked in like child crime, and like the dude was really fucked up. So, but that circled back to I like was never gonna date a vet, but there goes those daddy issues. I didn't want to date a vet because I had acknowledged that I had problems from watching my dad go overseas.
Right.
But I just don't. My heart was like, I have to love this person. Like I don't know. It's weird how the psyche does that. Like I knew that that was a forbidden fruit, but it made me feel like I needed it more because I wanted to save him because I knew what those experiences were internally. So we had that bond too because I was a soldier's daughter, and we jived on that. But the drinking was really intense. And
I'm sorry, I wanted to stop you there because when you said you wanted to save him, and I'm learning this too, especially with reading Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory. So like,
Oh,
can we really though?
my hair's just
Can we really save people? The only people that we can save is ourselves.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But it's hard because when you're in it, you really do. When you see someone like going down a path, or you see someone like doing something, you do want to save them. That's a natural, like almost
For
like an
sure.
empathetic, reaction, like
For sure.
instinct. So I'm sorry, but I just had to say.
Oh
Like, put
yeah,
that out there.
absolutely.
So like you're just at this point then like you're how many years in? Like you're in it.
So we're in it. We're probably like 3 years into this. Okay, so we live together. We're probably about 3 years into this. 2 years low key, like being slick. Then he had his own apartment. Then we lived together. Then like court papers are coming all the time. All the time. When I tell you this, like and she was valid. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Even though they were done, that was their business. I should not have like been any part of it. But she was bitter, her whole life fell apart. So he drank really, really hard, right? He crashed into a cart holder at Walmart and was so intoxicated that they had to like pound his chest to like wake him up. I don't know what they call that, but it's something, right? So
the sternum rub.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
because like it's a depressant, so his heart was probably like beating him. Then maybe he was taking benzos on it.
It was. I don't know, dude. There are times I will never get the truth there, and it just there's so many things.
Yeah,
there's so many.
Normally they do that sternum rub when the heart when it's a cardio thing, like when your heart's like basically not beating, like they're trying to get someone to revive.
Yes.
Like rubbing and like you're like going like that. Yeah.
So
I watch too many movies.
I got a phone call. I was at the Willow and got a phone call that he needed to be picked up or something. I don't know. He got arrested. He did all this, got arrested. They let him out. And he calls me. He's like, it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. Because he kind of sobered up a little bit. And we went out and drank again. And then found out how bad it really was. And his alcohol level was so bad that he came out with a bracelet after court. So he called me and he's like, I have some jewelry. And I was like, wow, you're a federal officer and you now have jewelry on. And I'm like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So he gets out, he has this bracelet on, and I immediately am like, well, I'm getting sober. You know what I mean? I'm not going to watch you have to get sober. And he had it for 90 days. And it was the best 90 days of our whole entire relationship. And at 59 days, I was like, well, you get that off tomorrow. And I drank. So I couldn't, like, I was already, you know what I mean? So we were nowhere near recovery. And it went on for probably 4 or 5 years. No, like about 4 more years of just, the cops were at our house all the time. My kids didn't really see much of it, but they started to see stuff towards the end. And I had a busted nose. My best friend broke his shoulder because she caught him had me in like a headlock through the window, and she came in, no shit, we were all fucked up that night, and she came in and grabbed him by his arm and went like this and took me out of the house. And the next day we found out he had like a spiral fracture in his arm. So we had broken bones. Like, it was fucking bad, dude. And he would drink so bad, like he was like piss in the corners and shit. Like, this is a man that wears a shirt and tie every day. You know what I mean? And he was still going to work with a badge and a scram bracelet, right? Mm-hmm. And these things buzz, Anyways, he did his thing. We kept drinking. I said all that 4 or 5 years. I put a PFA on him one time, went back before we went in the 10 days. They give you a 10-day emergency order. Mm-hmm. Went back, actually went in and signed off on it. And then I went back after.
Was that on your own free will because you felt bad, or did he talk to you?
We talked. We were so toxic.
You were just like,
I couldn't live without this man.
Right. Like you
and girl,
basically were.
Go ahead.
No, what did you say earlier about how him and his mom like enabling, right?
Dude, so, they were like incestuous.
So were you?
It was weird. I'm not even saying that they were. I feel like I gotta watch. But I'm like, that shit's weird.
Were you two enabling each other? Obviously.
Oh my god,
you
yeah.
Were like
so enabling, and that's why I didn't like her, because I was like, bitch, you know what I mean? Like, go get a husband. This one's mine. Like, that's really fucked up, but it's really all it is.
Right. It's your son, not your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
so she could, it's hard for some moms to cut the ties with their adult sons even.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird at times, so I can kind of get what you're saying with that, but it's like, you guys got to cut the cord here. Like, he's a grown
so
man,
bad.
you know.
Well, he would call and he'd be like, or she would call and she'd be like, I fell asleep on the toilet again. And I'd get mad because I'd be like, bitch, like, he's going to go drink now because he's worried about you. It was just a cycle.
Right.
And his drinking was like, mine's I'm smoothing along because I'm the good one. Do you know what I mean? He's the one that's like killing Knob Creek in his truck. I'm not. I'm just like drinking to get through. You know what I mean? But I'm still drunk. Like, I'm just not that bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're not popping squats in the corner.
Yeah, I was still not yet. I was still able to.
Not yet.
I'm not even kidding. So yeah, I was still able to like kind of focus on his addiction because it was way heavier and really peaked. So he was in and out of the VA a couple times, and then I don't even know what it was, but he got a hold of me in front of my youngest son, and my youngest son got on the phone and called his dad, and my youngest son's dad and I like we really don't talk a lot. His girlfriend's real weird, so like our co-parenting has been very minimal, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like whatever. I just want our kid to be okay. But anyways, I'll give that man the solid. He showed up and he was like ready to like handle things if he had to. And he came into the kitchen and he looked at me and he's like, if you do not get this shit out of our son's life, I'm taking him. And I knew from like that point on. Right. So he took Jax, he took him for a little bit, and I had Derek for a little bit. I'm trying to think of where this all like, because it gets really blurry.
Which in addiction.
It does.
Yeah, there's fragments. There was so much, so fast going on.
Right.
And there's only so much sometimes you remember.
Well, I think
back now, like I don't remember half the things I
did.
Dude,
it's such a blur.
Like, which is scary because then you have blackouts too.
Oh
like,
yeah.
You wake up and you're like, what happened last night? That's scary.
Yeah. I feel like I don't remember a lot of my life, and that's something I'm really sad about. But I'm working through that.
So like, it sounds like you had a lot of stability. There was a lot of chaotic points. But it sounds like at this point now with you and this officer, it sounds like things were coming to an end because the toxicity was.
Yeah, he lost his job. Like he lost his job. Obviously, he got busted because like you just can't. You're gonna get caught. So he lost that big wig job, financially crashed, had a state job, hated his life, got worse, went through COVID. We went through the pandemic. So we went through all that. That was after the pandemic was when we really almost killed each other. And I went to court, and the judge, well, actually, I had two officers come in and tell me, they sat with me. This was my pivotal point. My boys were with their dad, and I think I took them back after my son's dad came in and whatever. Left them take the kids. This is all in like a 3 to 4 day probably bender. Mm-hmm. I would say it's his bender. I'm just trying to drink through it. And he got a hold of me pretty bad. I called the cops. And these two older city cops came in, and they will forever be like the biggest light of my life. And they don't know. But the one guy sat down, and you could see like I had fingerprints. You could count them. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, he's like, the first thing, they're going to choke you, and then they're going to kill you. Like when they start to choke you, you're going to die. And that really stuck with me for some reason. Like, yeah, I don't know why. It just really stuck with me. And I was like, this old man, like, genuinely cares. Like, he cared. Do you know what I mean? Right. And there's that brotherhood, too. Let's talk about this of police officers, that it is a brotherhood. So this was the first set of cops to sit in front of me, too. There was one or two that were actually like, do you want to be with the town drunk? They knew who he was. But he could always kind of wave that card. And I feel like that's how it also got swept under the rug so much. Right. So these cops were like, fuck this dude, And yeah, I got out of that. And then my drinking, then he got sober. He's still sober. But we separated, and I kept the apartment on Hill Street, and we didn't talk. We got a 3-year court order, which is the longest you can get in the state of Pennsylvania. But now I am a walking PTSD victim myself, and I didn't even realize because I was just on survival mode for like 6 years. And then I drank unbelievably, like nonstop. I had like a mental breakdown where I couldn't like leave my house for a month.
Yeah.
Caseworkers, they wanted to put me in, and I like begged and pleaded because Jax was there, and he's like, Mom, you can't go in. Jax is also so adjusted to hospitalization, and when Derek would go into the hospital, I ultimately lived at the hospital too.
Right.
So now me having to go into the hospital, he's like, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't handle this. So
He was scared.
he didn't want me to go, but he went and was with his dad and his grandmother a lot. Again, I don't remember a lot of that time frame because literally what I would do is I'd wake up in the morning, and Jax would go back and forth to his dad's because he was so afraid something would happen to me. He was afraid like of Mark. I don't want to use people's names, sorry, but he was afraid of him and just me being alone. So he would come back and forth, but his dad's bus stop was like 2 minutes up the street, and I would get him to the bus stop, come home, open a bottle of wine, sit in the middle of my kitchen floor, and panic until I had to drive back to the bus stop and pick him up. So yes, I was, and that was a big thing that I like had to come to grips with, was like drinking and driving. But when you're at that level of drinking too, like it takes a lot for you to really, I know that sounds fucked up, but like you can drink, your tolerance is so high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did that for like a month, and then I was doing online therapy and stuff like that. And I had it was this lady who wore these wild wigs, and when I first saw her, I was like, yo. And she ended up being like the best freaking therapist ever. She got me through a lot. And I was honest with her about my drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me as I would like take my antidepressants and feel better, like the drinking would subside, but I don't really know that she knew the extent there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much.
Do you think the antidepressants helped?
I
or
do.
you tried so many that like
I do then. I feel like I'm at a way better spot now that I'm still on them, but I have like branched down, and I wonder if I could maybe some days be more holistic.
Right.
Without
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that in one of our, I think that was the first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I'm not saying the word like, Megan. Anyway, big pharma making their money. It's not that I'm against medication at all, because I know it does help with like, brain chemistry and whatnot. But like at the end of the day, are they really? Because there's so many new medications always coming out on the market. We know
so
this.
bad.
They're always advertising it. Are they really trying to help us as patients, or are they trying to make money? Or
it's 100% money. 100% money. And this is something that I think should be a really big eye opener too. Is we went through like the opioid,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
pandemic, which
epidemic.
Was, literally,
which was
literally
worse than COVID, but that was a sidetrack there.
That was like the first thing. What people really need in the pharma is the stimulants now. That needs to be like massively, because that's like the next monster coming in. Adderalls and Concerta.
I believe
I love those.
I
don't take those. I'm 3.5 years clean of stimmies.
Well, good for you.
Good,
I hear
good.
a lot of younger kids talk about that. Adderall.
It's bad.
It's like, how old are you? And these kids
It's
tell
bad.
me, and I'm like, and I worry because I have a 17-year-old, and I'm like, do not ever take any pill anyone ever gives you.
No,
Again,
ever.
pressed pills are everywhere with fentanyl in it.
It's
with
all
Trank
over.
In it. Like, it's scary.
There was a scale at a restaurant on the Light the other day. Like I was at one of the steakhouses, and there was like one of those disposable scales. And I touched it, and I was like, oh my God, look, a scale. You know what I mean? Like the freaking cooks out here selling stuff on break. And then I was like, fuck, man. Like if that had fucking fentanyl in it, and I'm over here, like you have to think that way though, because the shit is all over. But yeah.
You don't even want to, like, that scares me. Seriously.
Dude, I just went up and I'm like, look at this shit. It's funny. And I'm like,
I would have went right to the hospital
Ashley.
and sat in the parking lot.
I would have.
Something would have happened. I need to wait till like 30 minutes. Like,
listen, I just touched the scale and I don't know what's on it, so can you just check me out quick?
Oh my God.
Like, we don't know if there's medication on it or meat. Like,
right,
so funny. It was definitely, it was little. I don't know if it was weighing meat, but
so now.
So it wasn't that big. It was a small.
It was a little scale.
It was a little mini. I think someone might drop that behind. Someone left that.
It was definitely,
Someone's going back to look for that one.
So now you're sober.
Yes, I am sober.
What?
Let's talk about how many. I'm sorry. Let's talk about how many days sober you are.
Yes.
Of alcohol. How many days sober are
I
you of alcohol?
don't even. I think it's like 400 and something. Let me check really quick here. It takes
We need to celebrate that.
two.
Yeah.
That's a huge milestone.
It says 409 days.
Woo!
So it's what,
Yeah,
1
thanks.
year and
Like 13 and a half months a year.
sweet.
Yeah.
So congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
first off, because that's a huge milestone, like based off of everything that you've already said and like everything
Yeah.
that you went through because of alcohol.
Right.
Now becoming sober, what 400 and something days ago made you
What was my
click?
real rock bottom? My hair's standing up. So I feel like I was violent and I was really in love and I had a perfect little family again. And I
This
was
is a different partner.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I went
love, yo.
I went the whole different way. And found myself a girlfriend because I think that felt safe.
I'm sorry, when you said you went a whole different way, I'm like, you went down a different street? Like, are we mad for different
I
scenes?
tried a whole different vibe, girl. And I'm like,
So-
it is so weird because, like, I mean, I was always very, like, open with, like, to me, love is love. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
my mom was
Stop.
with a woman for years and, like, that, I just was raised really well. But,
You love the person, not the sex.
yeah.
It's,
right.
yeah.
But I felt really, really safe with her. And because she was soft and she was a female and it wasn't this aggressive man, you know what I mean? So I realized I was bringing my old behavior into this relationship now, but we're also both drinking. So I knew I had to stop or I was going to lose her. I was going to lose her. I was going to lose everything. And it was an 11 o'clock on a morning and I drew a bath and I had a Corona to like, simmer my shakes. And, cause it was anxiety. I had anxiety. And, I sat in my bathtub and I like looked at this bottle and like I do get emotional sometimes of that moment. Cause like I had to say goodbye to like my best, like to me, it was like my best friend. Like I looked at it and I was like, I have to say goodbye to this. Like I can't do this anymore.
Because that was the one thing that was always there for you.
Oh my God, that thing! Like I listen to the life I have now. I have zero desire, but I will absolutely say that bottle was there for me all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I drank half of it, and I was like, I'm not even gonna finish it, and I dumped it down, and like I just knew, I knew, and I didn't really tell anybody. My mom talked to me the day before, and she said to me, Ashley, your life is never gonna change if you don't stop drinking, and I didn't think about it at that moment. I obviously drank that night, woke up the next day, drank, and it just clicked. I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't. So in that moment, it looks like I was really done drinking because of someone, but it really like I really couldn't do this lifestyle anymore, whether it was with this person or not, because this cycle isn't going to stop.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
You were tired of being tired.
dude, my soul was so fucking tired. So tired.
I feel that. There were so many times that I used to drive, and I feel like Angela, with my alcoholism, not to take away from your story,
No.
always thought, my mom always thought that, like, I didn't want to stop. And I'm like, I wish you were in my head and just lived a day in my life to realize that I don't want to wake up and feel like I have to have a drink. I don't want to feel like I have to drink all day long to feel like I can function. And I would go on drives drinking by myself, and I would literally just cry out and ask God to please like save me and take this bottle like away from me, because I didn't want it, but I kept doing it, and then I felt like I needed it. So like I feel you on that level of saying goodbye to it. Like it really does feel like you're almost saying goodbye to a friend, like someone that was always there for you. It's a thing. But it's just like
It's your comfort.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's hard.
So now we're here 400 and some days later. What, coming off of alcohol, successes and, where are you now in life and how have things changed since being sober?
So, my whole world has changed. I can't even believe that I'm this far, honestly, but
Mhm.
now I'm okay. Um, my relationship with my boys is amazing. Um, like Jax, I didn't come home and like beat all my kids, but like I was drunk their whole life. So Jax and even Derek recognize a massive difference. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
My boss that I work for now, um, our relationship kind of fell out because I was such a party animal when I was with her the first time. So I had worked for her prior, and then
Okay.
I was like hooking up with my freaking,
Yeah.
So she was right. She was like, "Get your fucking shit together." And um, she was on my amends list, and she had reached out to me about some creeper guy going around salons or whatever, and it was so weird because she's like, she drove past the salon I had, and I was like, man, so many times I was like, I wonder if Erica would take me back. You know what I mean? And I was just so scared. I was scared because it was so early in my sobriety that I was afraid to ask her because I was afraid she would say no, and I like wasn't going to be strong enough to like
So,
take that. So
right.
You
her
would
reaching out
relapse.
to me, it's unbelievable when you get sober, like how the universe does shit too. I don't know if I sound squirrely like saying that, but it really does. The universe, God, whatever. Um,
Oh, I believe that for sure.
for sure.
It's
And she messaged me, she's like, you should try to buy that building. I was like, that building is shit, girl. I'm not buying it. And I was like, you know what? She's reaching out to me. I was like, would you ever like break bread with me again? Like, could we like throw down again? Cause like, I want you to know you're on my amends list and I just love you so much. And I'm so sorry for being such a fuck up. And she's like, Ashley, I would take you back in a heartbeat. And
it was meant
my
to be.
relationship with those girls in that salon now is, I love them so much, so much. So my business is extremely successful. Pinup Hair Studio.
Ooh,
Everybody
you
should
heard it
check
here.
us
Gotcha.
out.
Pinup Hair
It's an
Studio.
awesome salon. It's so awesome. And I have a little old lady in there. Her name's Maud, and she's Croatian. She's my Croatian princess,
Aw.
and she's the light of my life. And so I have my boss and the other coworkers, and that's going great. I used to drive around a piece of shit. I like bought my own new car all by
Oh,
myself.
that's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
so good.
I think I saw you on Facebook. Like, weren't they picking it out? Like,
Yeah,
wasn't
I did the Carvana.
Carvana.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So we did
That's
that. I had to
awesome.
drive stick shift through Center City, Philly after
Okay.
not driving stick shift for like ever.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a
So that
great
was
place
funny.
to start
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. This was great.
Talk about anxiety. Oh my
No
God.
shit, right? Um and like my relationship with like my landlord in my home is awesome. Like he has been my biggest supporter. Um I've never missed a beat on stuff like that, but he's just always been really supportive with like my sobriety and stuff like that. I say that because I had at a moment like welcomed some people back into my life and had told him, I was like, hey, I want you to know like these people might be in and out of my house. And he didn't message me back, and he told me, Ashley, I just want to make sure you really know what you're doing, and I just want to see you succeed. And I'm like, this guy don't know me from Adam. So that stuck with me, and I got that stuff out of my life really, really, really quick. So my relationship with my family is unbelievably well. I used to hate my mom my whole life. I would like rage on her, tell her I hope you fucking die, horrible things, and she just like she would cut me off, and I hate her for that. But she really is my best friend now, so that's awesome. Physically, my lungs were shutting down, my heart was giving me issues. I was like lined up on all kinds of appointments for all kinds of heart things. My bladder was failing. I know that this is a lot, but like
Hmm.
I had no control over my bladder anymore. My
That's
skin,
scary.
yeah.
Was that all because of just like the
I am like all
alcohol?
I am like 100% better.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
It's a cure. Just
It is.
don't touch the bottle, right?
No,
Yeah.
dude, the bottle is it is a very big darkness. And if like there are people that can enjoy it and be social with it, word, but it will kill
Unfortunately,
you.
it's not everyone can't be like that, and
Yeah.
that's sad and scary at the same time because I always
Mhm.
wonder to myself, like, am I ever gonna have a drink again? Like, I serve drinks all the time at work. Am I ever gonna be
Right.
able to socially
I
drink
think you're
again?
so brave to be. I just don't know if I could, but I want to
That's how
because
I.
it's like good money. Like serving's good
Oh,
money,
it's great.
and I
love
love the
it.
social aspect. And I almost like think I would enjoy that atmosphere, but I don't know. I don't know.
It's like I do. I love it, and I don't. It doesn't bother me. Smell sometimes do if I smell a certain drink or
Mhm.
like the whiskey, but I it's the after work when everyone that was working their shift sits at the bar and has a drink. That's when I get all my stuff and I leave
Okay.
because it's like
Mhm.
that. It's like a repetition kind of thing. I used to
Mhm.
do that too, and I
Mhm.
see people do it. And then people don't even realize still too that like they forget I'm sober and they oh you want to have a drink and it's like yeah I could sit there and drink water but why would I really want to sit at a bar where people are getting drunk
Yeah.
and acting
Yeah.
and then it just kind of triggers you too to remember how you used to act when you were
Oh,
drinking
yeah.
and you're like do I really want to be in this scene no I don't really want to be in this scene anymore
Right.
No.
so you do evolve and it's
Mhm.
amazing that you just said with your story especially
Yeah.
400 and however many days I'm
It was
horrible with
411 or
numbers
something like that. Well, I don't know.
yes
409 something. I don't know.
409 but like the fact that you have come as far as you did and look at everything that has changed for you with your relationships with your children the relationship
Mhm.
with your mother the relationship with your professional
All
like
it's yeah.
all of that and then like you took all the toxic close relationships out of your life you eliminated those because you're when you're sober you see differently you
Oh
see
my
completely
God,
differently
Right.
so different.
your eyes open up. You're like, what, was
Mhm.
I wearing glasses before? Because I
Yeah,
know I can't
absolutely.
see 2020.
Dude,
Like,
we were just joking about this the other day. Like, what rose-colored glasses that were like dipped in tar and feathers were we looking through? Do you know what I mean?
seriously.
Right.
No,
Like,
I feel
I don't
that.
know. I was living in another dimension for a very long time.
But you're not the only person, and that's why we created this podcast because we want individuals
Right.
to be able to come on this platform and feel comfortable enough to share like what you just shared
Mhm.
Right.
because that's a story. I mean, yours is different than hers. Hers is different than mine.
Right.
Or some of them
Right.
are the same. Some of them
Mhm.
can
But
coincide.
there's always a story that somebody can take away something from that story. So like again, there could be somebody watching who doesn't feel like they can get out of alcohol, but hearing your testimonial on where you are now being
Mhm.
sober for 409 days,
Mhm.
they can look at that and be like, wow, maybe I can. Like she had a really
Yeah.
shitty bringing up. Like she was in the hole. And
Dude,
now
And look at where you're at.
now you're in a
And look at
whole
her
better
days.
mindset.
I tell everybody that though because I'm like, dude, if I could do it, like you can do it. You can
Right.
do it, and it's so much better on the other side. I mean,
It is.
life is life, and like it's hard. Like there's not enough time, there's not enough money. It's like always those are basic things. But as far as like my peace and my serenity, and it is,
And your health.
dude, my health is amazing. So like that's another thing. Like I'm helping my sister like watch my niece a couple days a week, and like the bond I have with her is like amazing.
Right.
They don't know. They'll never know me any different than like sober.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
And
And
that's
that
so
should make
good.
your heart happy too.
It
You
does.
don't have to hide anything. You don't have to go in there with a water bottle and fill it with something else or like a Yeti. Like I know
Yeah.
I've been in different situations and have done that.
Well, my too. Like I would like drink, and then I'd be like, I'm not leaving my house. Do you know what I mean? Like as soon as I like got it on, I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. So do you know what I mean? And then it'd be like, well, I have social anxiety. Well, yeah, you do, but like you just haven't. Like my anxiety was really debilitating because of all the alcohol. Like I'm still a walking ball of nerves.
Of course.
But there's
Right.
but not like that.
But you deal with them differently.
Well, yeah,
You
your
don't
confidence
drink.
comes back, right? Like
Exactly.
so much. That's a part that and like in the beginning, like like AAers, which I'm not super big on like the AA. Like there's things you can take from it, and there's things that I'm like, because they're like if you miss a meeting, like you're gonna, and I'm like, no, that's crazy.
I agree because I've gone to a couple, but with my sobriety, I haven't been to one. So
Okay,
I mean,
so
I haven't gone that route with this time around at least. So.
right. I forget where I was going with that. Shoot.
But I think you're saying like everyone like you don't necessarily need AA. Everyone like can sober up in their own way.
Yeah,
On
you
their
can
own
absolutely.
terms. I mean, they have to.
Right.
I mean, you have to. Like
You
you have
do.
to want it. It
You
doesn't matter
do.
how bad your mom wants it for you or your kids want it for you.
Yep.
No one. You're
can
going to lose everything.
No
too,
one
that
can
you
save
know.
you but yourself.
Right. And that's something like that. That's what I was. AAers will be like, it's so much better on the other side. And there were so many times, I don't know, how far are you?
270 days today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how it is that? Like,
So I'm
months.
almost going on 9 months.
Okay,
Yeah.
word. So,
July 17th will be a year.
yes.
Yeah. So it's
Good for
coming
you.
up, yeah.
So I feel like my like shit only started to really click in my head at like 6 months. Like I was like doing things, but then I like started to really understand like, wow, this is like better, because a lot of you lose. I lost everybody. I lost everybody. You know what I mean? Like that I thought.
Everyone who you thought was of value to you.
Yes. I lost my like childhood best friend. Like I lost everybody, and now they all congregate together because they all drink. And I'm, and that's something that people don't tell you about. Like, listen, you're gonna get sober, and like those people, they're not gonna really be happy for you, because you're leaving the circle. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, none of us really want to be drunks. Like, cut it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to wake up and be like, I freaking argued with my husband last night and my kids saw it. Like, no, stop it. But people don't know how to, like, everybody has their different rock bottom, and they don't tell you that. And that's a really scary thing, is that you're going to sit alone. If you're really going to do true recovery, you're going to sit alone in your thoughts, and you're going to feel every single fucking feel that you have not felt for so many years. And you're going to have to do it alone. And that's something that like they don't really tell you. You know what I mean? They might graze on it, but like I don't even think you can emphasize it enough to somebody. You have to go through it.
You do. You don't know until you go through it. That's another thing.
It was isolating. Like, I mean, my phone would be bone dry all the time. Like, I thought, is that what it is? Like, do I gotta like fucking drink to like have a social life? I was so lonely. And now, I mean, I'm so busy and active, and my circle is so strong and healthy. It is amazing.
And I think not those bar people.
No.
Like,
no.
You find out who your true friends are, your
true
family, the people that are actually going to actually be there for you through thick and thin.
Yes.
And it's not the people sitting at the bar talking about what happened to who, or talking about whoever. Like, it's drama.
It's such a culture that I just can't.
And those people aren't healthy for you. And those people aren't healthy for themselves.
They're not.
Unfortunately, like,
they're
they
not.
actually need help, but are they going to ever, but they have to want it.
Mm-hmm.
They want it.
Yep.
Probably not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But your story was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And we are so proud of how far you've come, and we hope that you continue on your journey.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me share it.
Well,
absolutely.
Girl, honestly,
yeah.
I feel like this is just part one of Ashley's. I feel like Ashley could say a lot more.
I know.
So we're gonna have maybe a part two. Ashley's part two coming to the theater soon.
Yeah, for real. But get sober. It's like definitely for those out there, like, you can do it. It's worth it.
You heard it here. She said that you gotta want it for yourself at the end of the day. And honestly, I mean, she has children and she has a family, and now like you are so much closer, and you benefited from it, your children, your mom.
It's amazing. Like, it's amazing. Like, we literally are thriving.
We love to hear that.
Yeah.
We like success stories.
It's awesome.
That just makes our hearts happy.
It is. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing. That's the main thing. Thank you for sharing. So what's coming next, Andrea? What are we telling our guests?
So our plan is to have a gentleman on our podcast, not only because that's just who we have next, but because we've realized that there is, and most certainly is, a lot of men who struggle with mental health, addiction, anything like that. And I feel like it's harder for men to open up about it.
I feel like they think it's demasculated.
Right. So we want to have a man come on and share their story.
A very strong man.
We do. We want, we do have somebody in line that's going to come in and they're going to share their story. And, we just hope that it reaches other men who,
So we do. When we say this wholeheartedly, we're laughing, but like we have a lot of men lined up, we're not going to say boys, young men that would like to talk and share a little bit of what they've been through. They've seen Andrea and I's like podcast, and they want to hop on the train here. And we're calling this a train.
Yeah, this
That
is
might
the
sound
train.
bad, but this is a train that's choo choo, and we're going. All right, and we're not stopping here. So the next guest, we're not going to reveal the name yet, but you will meet him soon, probably within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we're doing right now, we're still dropping. We're trying to drop 2 videos each month. So we'll have Ashley's for this month of April, and then we'll also have the secret guest that you don't know about yet, the Manly Man. So
The Manly
he'll
Man.
be coming on air shortly in the next 2 weeks. So we're gonna wrap it up with that. Thank you all for listening. Again, please go to our YouTube, subscribe, like, share. We have a Facebook. We also have an Instagram, and we also have our your story.
Yep, the email.
Yeah, isn't finished. Email at Gmail.